Oh, it's just started, isn't it? No, I might stay behind for the next one and see. Oh no, I'll probably sleep around. Okay, well, welcome, Troll fans. You probably know we've been working on this game for a while. It won the best demo in the EGS Awards last year. And we released the demo far too early. The game has come on a long way since then. It is probably about 40% done so far. And again, like Captain Disaster, we're trying to aim for release date somewhere around Q2, Q3 of next year. But as you're also all devs as well, you'll know that that could be absolute nonsense. We can only hope. So I know at least, Sean, you have played the existing demo. I don't know if anyone else has. But I'll show you the bit from the start because it really does show how much better the game is now. Even though the actual content is largely the same. I'm hoping this auto adjusts properly. These will not obviously be in the game, they're just our debug menus. Sound down a little bit. It's amazing what you can do with the Rebecca McCarthy and the touch of reverb.
One fateful night, the realm of the Shadow Goblin, 3 shady characters met for the last time. An entire race was about to be completely erased from history. But one day, a smooth-flowing animal dislodged enough earth to let some light into a cavern, and a chain of events was set into motion that would change the land of Malekoswam forever.
And we've added narration here and there because I think in the original demo and without some explanation, a lot of the things that happen in the game are just going to leave players thinking, but why? You know, so the cutscene and this explains why Claude is in this prison in the first place. Okay, how long are you going to stay there? I think we need to not make you wait for them. Let's click there. And we've sent it to a couple of publishers, so that's a fairly broad hint. Entire intro. Oh, you've not? Do you want to see it? There are now 4 of you. I haven't really got a time frame. And I don't think there's anything after me, so if I overrun, it's going to...
Actually, I think there is...
Is there? Oh yeah, Bertrand Fiddle. Well, it's fairly short. If I click through these first bits, it's me doing 3 very bad accents. I enjoy doing really bad over-the-top accents, but whether you will, I don't know. This just sets the scene for the whole thing, really. It's the background behind why there is an enemy of the trolls at work. You find out more about who this enemy is, why they're doing what they're doing, and of course a lot more about the trolls.
Well, bruv, you ain't gonna have no more troll trouble. That's the last of them taken care of.
Mais oui, that is the last of them.
They put out quite a battle and use the little potion that your master gave us, it's them.
Yes, yes, all is done. Excellent. My master will be most pleased. Yes. I must one day perfect the art of laughing my evil laugh without ending in a fit of coughing. Most annoying.
Well, we have just seen it a matter of having investment to consider, yes? Well, offering more money means that we want our money in it.
Yes, yes. Payment.
Oh, what are you doing?
What is currently happening? Did I not tell you that my master doesn't pay in gold?
So was it worth it? So originally I was doing the voicing for Cod, and after I played through the demo again after a while, I realised that my voicing for Cod was absolutely atrocious. So I've got a guy called Jesse Lowther, who's a pretty good voice actor. He's also got a naturally deep voice, which you may be able to tell that I haven't. Another thing that the original demo was missing, sound effects, which are obviously very important to a game. I didn't quite realise how important they were until I played some of my own games and others without sound effects. And then when you put the sound effects through, you can see how different it is. Just a huge difference. But I've also learned that the sound effects guy never gets any praise. Never. It's very sad. This is, I've played through just the first bit of the existing demo, purely because it's pretty short.
That was an excellent sound.
I think that's why you were laughing, because it was so good. I was a bit worried. The full version, which is the whole process of Cod getting out of the cave and rescuing his 3 buddies who are also trapped, is going to be released as freeware in the very near future. So that's all completely done and voiced. We just want to get a little bit more testing done to it before it's released. Basically because the existing demo is very short. It doesn't really represent the final quality of the game. A couple of things we've added. Hint system. It's like a universal hint system style, so it gives you a subtle hint and then a slightly less subtle hint, and if you keep clicking more hints, eventually it will just tell you what to do. So you should never really get completely stuck in the game. We also have hotspot highlighter, although I actually no idea why that little bit down there is highlighted. You always find these nice little bugs just as you're showing everyone the wonderful new feature, don't you? So it's just that's
big mess.
We have the new limescale graphic that Andrea eventually remembered to put in.
I think we have to swap it.
We have to swap it.
We have to change, we have to...
Artists are so difficult to work with, honestly.
Young. Body feels strong now.
So this was effectively the existing demo, so as you can tell it was very, very short. But for some reason it was still popular, so...
My work starts here, to be honest.
Yeah, this was all Tino Bensing. I worked with him on a game called Underneath Number, and we worked together on this, but after this all the graphics were done by Andrea, and Jim Spanos took over the programming, so that's kind of like the dream team really. Jim Spanos and Andrea Ferris.
Blood smash.
But I wanted very much to keep the same graphical style because it just fitted the game perfectly, and Andrea's just managed to replicate the style perfectly, I think. You may wonder why it's called Troll Soul. It's nothing to do with the guy who goes troll for hours. I didn't even know about him before, after we started releasing the demo of this. Basically, this is retelling the story of the trolls. They're always seen as these huge brutes, and all they do is basically go around smashing things, and they're very, very stupid. Our trolls are not like that. It's interesting. I thought we got the voice in there. Okay. So this area here, these next two screens, are the area of the game that's going to be released as freeware. So although it's only 3 screens, they're big scrolling screens, there's quite a lot you can do. Have to use the trolls themselves, the other trolls, to help you to be able to solve the puzzles.
Dead stone now. On, off, big, not big, all dead stone. None more live trolls. All trolls dead stone. Up you must. No! God must have done wrong and can to be free. We all trolls that left.
So that's the situation that the trolls find themselves in. There are only 4 of them left and they must escape. And as you can see, trolls have feelings too. Unfortunately, I'd asked Jim to give us an option to go straight back to the menu, which he hasn't done. I'm sure he'll do it very soon. He was probably too mixed up with this dynamic lighting one. We've obviously got the debug menu on, so we've got several, we can go straight to any of the locations. So I'll show you some of the other locations that are already in the game. Once you've escaped from the cage, you come across a goblin encampment. And this little guy.
Gab, Rock, you stand guard.
Yeah, will do.
Yes, Claude. What dog do? Doug, come with Claude.
Hello? Guys, a little help here would be appreciated.
So this little guy in the cage, once you rescue him, he becomes your ally, sort of an unwilling ally. But when you have him, there will be a new GUI come up on the screen. He's got abilities that the trolls don't have. So you sort of start off with just a couple of verbs you can use. As you go through, you end up having the 5 verbs plus look. And then you have that plus the Hobgoblin's instructions. And what we're trying to do with this game is not have anything go on the same for too long. So it sort of throws the player out, makes you think in different ways about how to solve the puzzles, how to get Greeks to add the program features that you actually ask them for. Would be nice. This is being taped now, isn't it? So Jim's going to kill me. One of the other things that we wanted to do was have different perspectives, so you're not just looking at this same side-on view all of the time. So when you manage to bust your way through the door into this dwarven town, eventually, yeah, here we go. So we get changed to a top-down view, or kind of a fake top-down isometric view. So here, again, the game changes. The GUI you've got is this sort of radar monitor, which it will turn to green when you're in the right area. So don't look too hard at the route I take, otherwise it won't actually be a puzzle for you when you play the full game. Let's hope we don't find any new walk behind areas that don't work properly. So apart from first world, we haven't actually got the voicing in for this. We're going to make the entire game, then add the voicing. And yes, that is meant to say speak, not peek. I found that bug out this morning. So again, part of the plot is Claude being the king of the trolls. You know, what that means, why is he the king? It does explain as well why he seems to have assumed control right from the beginning. Okay, why is he taking so long to? That's it. So then it leads you to another different sort of puzzle. Again, don't look too closely at the solution to this. Unless you want to cheat, of course. I mean, that's fine. And I'm doing it wrong. Andrea, why did you not tell me I'm doing it wrong?
What?
You know this puzzle as well as I do.
Well, you're spoiling it.
I know, I should have asked people to cover their eyes maybe. I mean, I don't know if that worked.
It's okay.
They'll never remember it. You've all got really bad memories, haven't you? You never ever remember the answer to that. So now we're in the home of an alchemist, and the trolls experience kind of a new set of feelings. And as we go through the game, they start off these monosyllabic ones who can barely speak English, and as it goes through they become more literate, more coherent. And again, there's a reason for that. I think the x-axis on this monitor is just slightly off. Shall I show them the shrinking?
Yeah, that's sure.
Because this is actually quite an easy puzzle. As you can see, because the voice has said you're not allowed to do all your normal trollish screaming and bashing stuff, all you have is grab and look. However, each of these potions does something different, so even if you can remember the sequence, you're probably going to have fun with showing out the other potions anyway. Beautiful sound effect, wasn't it? It'll sound better when we've got music there as well. Oh, too slow, okay. I can't even solve my own puzzles.
Does the colour represent anything, or is that just...
What, the potions?
Yeah, so it's mixing potions, or is it...
No, I mean, you can't actually mix them. It's just basically so you can identify one from the other, because otherwise you've obviously got a lot of hotspots bunched up quite close together. So the others do things like give you a loose head, make you teleport, just turn you yellow and stuff like that. So it's quite fun to experiment, but I don't think I've got time to show you all the effects before we go. This puzzle people seem to have found quite difficult. You're not meant to be the only one laughing at the sound effects anyway. So what you do here, I'm not going to show you the puzzle solution. What you do here is obviously you've got to play a tune, and the mouse who's stolen the key comes out and squeaks it. Do you know how hard it is to change the pitch of a mouse squeak and make it sound okay? That's fine. So what other bits of the game? Oh yeah, I'll show you. Do you want to see the trolls playing drums? Come on, enthusiasm, yeah. We're going to be so disappointed now. Now, in case I don't remember the solution to this one, I think I do. So the focus of verse 2 is really got lots of different types of puzzle. Another bug, they're not meant to all be shown up. That might only be because of the... And then verse 3 is going to be much more on the style of traditional point and click, lots of areas to explore, lots of interactions. Which one does Rich enjoy? I think.
No, it's right. It was right.
Is that right, or is?
Yeah, it was right. Go up again. Yeah.
Or is it these two that you swap around?
I think you can press OK. No.
You reckon it's the?
Yeah.
Let's see if Andrea was right. Yay! Okay.
Because I remember the animations.
Getting the timing for the animation right on those is the absolute moment. I think we got it right. But as you can tell, a lot of this is still quite a work in progress. But also being able to just skip between parts of the thing on the debug menu probably causes problems. And obviously we will have music voicing and stuff. And then you have yet another different type of puzzle, and Pink Floyd fans may recognise the inspiration for it. And I'm not going to show you now, because otherwise you're going to go away thinking I've shown every single puzzle solution in Act 2, which verse 2. I can't forget it's called verses. I love the idle animations of these guys though. I mean, you can just leave it there for a while. Just enjoy watching them and just do their thing. So we're looking to try and get the game out probably around Q2, Q3 maybe of 2015. Approached various publishers, some are still considering, so I don't know what's going to happen as far as publishers go yet. The dev blog, troll-song.com, is being kept up to date on a relatively regular basis now. I haven't really been getting around to doing that before, but I make sure at least gets 2 or 3 updates every week now. And we had a vote on when people wanted the freeware verse 1 game to come out, and about 60% said as soon as possible. So that's good, because we couldn't quite decide ourselves whether we should wait until near the time the full game is released or not. So we're going to release it possibly in December, but definitely before the end of January next year. So that's really the game as it stands so far. Does anyone have any questions?
Was it like having, you've got obviously 4 characters walking around, when you've got conversations starting and some of them are still walking to join the conversation together, that's a problem with that syncing all together.
Jim might have. I haven't noticed anyone. I sort of just design the whole thing and say, okay, this is what I want to happen, and he makes a build, and usually it's all done as good as I imagined, or quite often better than I thought of it. So yes, programming wise, he may have issues, but I don't know about them. If he told me about them, I wouldn't understand them, so he doesn't tell me about them.
Do you ever choose to switch character, or earlier when sort of one told one to stay there and one to follow? Is that always linear, as to how you want the story to progress, or is that ever a puzzle?
Yeah, it's largely based on how we want the narrative to flow. Once you rescue one troll, in the cave, you don't actually get to play the other trolls directly. You always play as Cod. But for instance, once you've rescued your first troll in the cave, they appear as an inventory item, and you can actually use them on other hotspots. Once you have two, you can actually use either one of them, or you can put them together. So the puzzle solution to one of the bits is you actually use two trolls together. One climbs on top of the other, and you grab them, and you climb up to the top. But yeah, it's pretty linear the way we do it, because with the different verbs and the different GUIs, we could end up having to account for about 50 different interactions for every single object in every scene of the game. So that's why when the Goblin encampment comes up, I thought I don't want them trying to make a troll pyramid again to reach the cave. So the only way to avoid that is to, in the narrative flow, get rid of two of the trolls effectively.
Right. Does that mean when they do try and push that, only one can be at the top? Or could you do it the other way around?
It doesn't matter what order, but generally speaking, if you've got a pyramid of them, when I say pyramid, it's not like two at the bottom and one above. They just literally one climbs on the other shoulder, and whichever is the bigger troll ends up being at the bottom. So rock is the biggest one. So if you make a pyramid, it's basically always going to end up being at the bottom.
Right.
I haven't got anywhere in the game where you can make a pyramid of all four of the trolls at once, but you never know. We can try that. Would you like to have that option in the game?
I was more interested if you could optionally take one and walk around with, to solve a puzzle you would have to switch to a different character.
Alright. Not at the moment, but how we're going to do the following acts isn't set in stone, so it's certainly something that we can definitely try. Okay, is that it? Because I think my time is pretty much up. So, okay, well, thanks. I'm glad someone had a look. Thanks for looking at our game, and hopefully when it's on sale, you'll remember that you liked it. And if you didn't like it, hopefully you'll forget that. Okay, thanks very much.